All right, guys, so we have a lot to cover in this video. So what I want to do is I want to jump straight to the point. But first, I want to let you guys know, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'm always giving you insights and knowledge on how to build a life and a business full of freedom, passion, and fulfillment. So don't forget to do that. So the topic of conversation today is USI Tech versus HashFlare, which is better. So I'm going to do my best to give you my personal viewpoint on which opportunity would be the best to go with based off of your situation. So let's first talk about the pros and the cons of USI Tech. The pros is the fact that if you don't want to do any recruiting with USI Tech, you don't have to, right? You can earn on multiple levels, and based off of whether the people that you bring in qualify or not, which means basically they purchase 12 packages or more, will allow you to make more money. So what I like about USI Tech is that you can minimize your risk by purchasing fewer packages and then recruiting people that purchase packages and then making Bitcoin off of them. So that's one way that you can make money with USI Tech. The second way is you can rely on the compounding of the interest. Okay, roughly you're going to get between like 0.75 and 1.25% interest per day on your initial investment. Okay, so if you invest $100 worth of Bitcoin, right? In terms of Bitcoin, I don't know exactly how much that is to the per $100, but you're basically going to earn 1% per day for a maximum of 140 days, which is how long the contract lasts for, right? So if you spend $100 worth of Bitcoin, you're going to get 140 back. So you get roughly 140%. Okay, so that's what I like about USI Tech. Those are the pros of USI Tech, and there's different calculators you can go out there and you can get that other YouTubers offer, and you can find out which investment strategy works best for you based off of the risk that you want to take. For me, I didn't want to take a lot of risk. I want to rely more on my skills and talents when it comes to marketing. So my goal with USI Tech was to minimize my risk by spending roughly, $700 to $800. That's something that I was willing to lose. And so I invested roughly that amount, and I knew the upside was going to be big if I built a big team, right? The upside was going to be big. And if the downside, the worst that could happen was I'd lose my $750, $800. So that's the way that I look at investments when I make them. What's the downside, the potential worst downside, and what's the best upside, right? So if you're investing $5,000, you're not willing to lose that $5,000, don't invest that $5,000. Are you here for the short term as well, or are you here for the long term? As you can see, the price of Bitcoin, man, it's taking a hit. It went from being like right around $19,000 per Bitcoin mid-December. Now it's down to right around between $12,000 and $13,000. So there's a lot of factors that take place when determining, what opportunity to go with, the strategy that you should go with when it comes to that opportunity. And so with USI Tech, not only that, but also you're relying on this software, right? Which, to me, they don't really focus on the benefits of this software. If it's really returning right around 1% a day, that's pretty awesome. They should be hyping up the benefits of this software, but they're not. They're so focused on these Bitcoin packages, right? And they're not really giving you the details as far as the technology is concerned that's producing the end result, right? And so to me, it just doesn't feel right. It could be a Ponzi scheme. I'm not saying it is. So when I got into this, I saw a lot of other leaders, well-known, get into this. So I knew that they didn't want to, screw up their reputation. And so it made me take the leap of faith, but with minimal risk, right? So they're basically saying that you're investing into this software that goes out there and it trades Bitcoin, right? It's basically a bot, kind of like what BitConnect is doing from what I understand. I thought you were actually investing into mining systems, right? Which, I don't know, I could be wrong, but after doing some research, I realized that you're investing into this trading software basically. So if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know a little bit more information. Also, that cease and desist letter went out. If you're not licensed in the security sector, then you shouldn't be promoting USI Tech, and you can get in trouble for that. There was 2 affiliates in Texas that got in trouble for that because they weren't telling people the risks involved when it came to, investing into this specific opportunity. So there's that. They got legal problems going on. And so that's really the reason why I decided to not necessarily stop promoting USI Tech. For a minute, I decided to do that. I made a video on that. But now you guys know my marketing strategy, right? If you get on board with me in USI Tech, I want you to be able to invest the minimum amount as possible and make a huge return based off of recruiting efforts that I teach you versus your compounding efforts. Okay, so that's my idea when it comes to USI Tech. Now, let's talk a little bit about HashFlare, and then I'll show you my HashFlare strategy that I'm using to get a 1,000% ROI in the next 2 years. Okay, again, that's not guaranteed. I'm going to show you how much money I'm risking with this and what the potential reward is. So basically, let me take a step back real quick. I actually invested about $800 right into USI Tech. I brought a few people in and I already covered my costs and I broke even. And so now I got about 13 packages that are working for me. Okay. So this isn't guarantee of income. I'm not a financial advisor, right? So I'm just documenting my journey. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing, right? If you choose to take action, great. If you don't, that's okay too. So here's HashFlare. What I love about HashFlare is it feels more tangible to me, right? You're actually leasing out systems that are in a data center. And yes, they are real. There's actually photos on the internet. Now they say don't believe everything that you see on the internet, but I've actually seen the mining farm. I've seen the building. I've seen, right, all these pictures of the office building, the staff. There's actually a YouTube video out there the other day of another YouTuber. I can't remember his name, but he actually interviewed one of the staff members of HashFlare. Now, this could all be a facade. The pictures could be fake, but I just didn't get that impression. So basically what you can do is you can invest, and I made a past video about this. I'm not going to go into detail because I went into detail in another video, but I have a HashFlare review that I made and I'll leave that in the description. But basically you're investing into these mining systems, so you don't have to worry about buying your own computer system, setting it up, right? Dealing with all the technicalities and the electricity and everything. They've actually done that for you. So you're investing into the electricity and into the systems and the costs that go along with it. And these systems go out there and of course they mine Bitcoin, right? Using the SHA-256 algorithm. And then you get a return based off of what they mine. And so does the company HashFlare. So basically investing in the systems, you're leasing out the systems, whatever you want to call it, right? And so that's what I've done right here. And to date, I've done 0.025 Bitcoin. I believe that's a few $100s so far in the past 10 days or so. And so what I like about this is you don't have to recruit. I'm not going to get shut down. I'm not selling some type of security. So I don't run the risk. It's not a slippery slope like USI Tech. So I don't run a lot of the same risks that you would be running with USI Tech, which is what I love about HashFlare. Is I'm investing into something that's actually tangible, right? So that's absolutely what I love about this, is just the risk factor. Now the returns, more than likely, based off the videos that I've watched out there, they're not going to be as big as USI Tech, but they get roughly close depending on the strategy that you're using. Also, you can't trust this revenue forecast because it doesn't take into account the maintenance fees. It doesn't take into account the varying price of Bitcoin. It doesn't take account into the difficulty of mining and the change in that difficulty over time, right? So there's some factors here that aren't really covered in detail. So this kind of gives you a rough estimate, but it's not exactly accurate. And I realized this just by looking at other HashFlare reviews out there. And I found a video of a guy that actually had perfectly calculated this out for you, right? So instead of relying on this, he actually has a spreadsheet, and I'm going to link you to the spreadsheet and the video below to give him credit. He did an incredible job of this, so I highly recommend that you check that video out in the description. But I actually have two different scenarios, best case and more of a conservative case scenario. I'm going to show you guys both. So basically what we have here is we have my initial investment, which is right around $9,240. That's exactly what it is. And the annual difficulty to mine Bitcoin has increased every single year. So December 16th to December of 2016 to December of 2017, the difficulty increased just over 5 times. 2015 to 2016 increased almost 4 times. So the average of that is going to be right around 4 to 4.5. So that's what we're kind of speculating the difficulty to increase this year. So we have to take into account that, right? Like I said, then we have to predict the price of Bitcoin, right? So right now it's between $12,000 and $14,000. I'm predicting by quarter 2 of 2018, it's going to go to 23 and then 28 and 32, 38. So I'm looking at the long-term vision of this investment into Bitcoin. Some people want to trade the market, sell high and buy low and pay attention to the charts every single day. That's not what I'm going to do here. Okay. I want you guys to understand that this is a long-term investment. Okay. So I've predicted that the first quarter of the 3rd year, and you can continue to, predict for, the 3rd year and the 4th year, but he doesn't have that outlined here. We've just got it up to $64,000 for the first quarter in year 3. And then we have to take into account the price of the contract, right? So right now on HashFlare, they offer contracts for the SHA-256 for $2.20 per 10 gigahash, okay? And of course, that's probably going to go up as, mining gets more difficult. The price is going to go up. So what we've noticed and what he's noticed by year 2, mining doesn't really become that profitable based off of these factors, the difficulty of the mining and also how much the contracts are going to cost. So if you're going to do mining, I would recommend getting into mining now based off of these speculations and these predictions, right? And so then we want to decide, okay, do we want to reinvest? Because there's a feature within HashFlare where you can take all your money and you can reinvest it back into purchasing more terahash. So here I've got 42 terahash, so I can take this and I can reinvest, right? So what I've decided to do, I haven't decided whether I want to take 33% for the first and second quarter of next year, 2018, or whether I want to just take all of my money. Since I'm thinking long term with this, I might just take all my money and reinvest it for the next 6 months, right? So I'll show you exactly what that figure looks like. But based off of these numbers, you can kind of see that over the course of the next 2 years, I get a 1,046% ROI, right? If I focus on the long term, hold my Bitcoin, reinvest a little bit here, but hold most of my Bitcoin. And if the price goes up of Bitcoin and the difficulty, remains at right around 4 or increases by 4 per the next 2 years, I'm looking at right around $96,668 net that I will make, right? That's after fees, because you pay a maintenance fee, right, with HashFlare for them to maintain the systems, and so on and so forth. So that's the number that you're looking at right here. Now, if I wanted to invest, let's say it was 100% for the first 2 quarters. This takes a minute to change. We would be looking at quite a significant difference, right? So if I'm playing the long game, I should just be all in, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking right here. And so we would be looking at $126,720 in profit after investing roughly $9,240. So we're looking at a 1,691% ROI. Sounds pretty good, right? So this has to happen though, right? For the next 2 years, it has to at least go up to 58,000 for this to happen. Now let's look at a little bit more conservative numbers here on another chart that I have. So let's say by the end of Year 2, quarter 4, it just goes up to 28,000, right? Difficulty increases by 4 times. We reinvest 33%. We're going to make right around $27,317, which is still a 296% investment. So 296% ROI. So regardless, you know, my worst case scenario, best case scenario, the projections are looking pretty good. Right? As long as the price of Bitcoin continues to rise, we will be okay, which is why we're in this business in the first place. That's why you're watching this video, is because you believe in Bitcoin. You believe that's going to happen. So those are kind of the pros and cons. I actually didn't mention really the cons of HashFlare. If they keep increasing the contract price, that could obviously affect, you know, my return here. So that's definitely a con. I don't like the fact that I've invested right around $9,240 and I do get cost a daily maintenance fee. That's roughly $15 per day right now. So there is some built-in fees that you don't realize until you actually go out there and purchase a contract. But based off of those fees, the projections are still looking pretty good. So if I could go back, I probably wouldn't nearly invested near as much as I did, you know, $9,240. But the damage is done, and I think the risk and reward is there. If I were you, maybe I'd start with half. You know, I'd start with right around. Of course, it depends on your financial situation. This is not investment advice, by the way. This is what I would do. Let me rewind. This is what I would do if I was just getting started again. Is I'd probably invest between 4 and 5. But again, invest what you're willing to lose, as I should put that disclaimer in every one of my videos, and I'm getting better at that. So if you got some value from this video, let me know. Like this video, give me a thumbs up, comments, feedback. Maybe there's a strategy that I haven't realized here that would be better. Please let me know, and I'll make sure that I put the spreadsheet in the comments, and make sure you mess around with this. I messed around with a lot of different variables here, and I noticed that this is kind of this is the best scenario that I found out, you know, for a conservative scenario and a more aggressive scenario like this. So, you know, if Bitcoin goes down, continues to go down, I'm here for the long term. What goes down must come up. If you look at the trends of the stock market over the past 100 years, you can see that trend. The people that make the most money are the people that buy low and hold on to that money, right? For long term. You know, people that bought into Microsoft back in the 90s and Apple back in the 90s and held on to it, still today are holding on to some shares. It's continuing to go up. Yeah, it took some big dips, but it continues to rise above the previous highs, which I absolutely love. And that's kind of the game that you have to play here, is play the long game. Don't get fearful when Bitcoin goes down. If this is something that you truly believe in and you're not looking for some get rich quick thing, then this is definitely for you. So check out my link to HashFlare in the description below. If you're getting started with USI Tech, I'll put a link in the description too as well, so you can get started. But again, I would start with very minimal investment with USI Tech. Like I said, I started with right around $800 because they're going through a lot of legal problems right now. But it's something I will continue to promote, because you guys know what my tactics, my strategies are when it comes to USI Tech and how I am promoting. And I'd recommend that you do the same thing. I've got a private Facebook group I'll include in the description below, where I give you the chance to get access to these tactics, which is pretty cool too as well. So if you need any help, please reach out to me. I'm available on Facebook. I'll put that below too as well. And I think I pretty much covered everything. So with that said, this is Josh Elder signing off, and don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Give me a thumbs up and comment.